Jilan, Grievance of Lovesickness. People say the ocean is deep, not half as deep as my love. The ocean has a shore. My love is boundless. With a thither I climb to the high loft. The loft is empty, filled with moonlight. I play a melody of love sickness, breaking both strings and heart. So this is the third poem we've read by Jilan. As a brief recap, she lived in the middle late years of the 8th century. She was a contemporary of the Dali era poets after the Andushan rebellion. She was a Taoist priestess, and she was affected by the aftermath of the rebellion. Not immediately, but she died in 784 when she was executed by order of the emperor. I think it was Song. After an unhappy incident, she had been summoned to the capital by the emperor, but at that time there had been a rebellion in the capital, and Jilan was captured by the rebels and forced to compose poems lauding the new dynasty that was deposing the Tang. Afterwards, the Tang forces, including Song, who had run away rather cowardly, in a rather cowardly manner from the capital, retook it, and Jilan was sentenced to death for collaborating with the enemy. So again, we won't delve more into her biography as we've done this in the previous commenting of her previous poems. She has love poems. This is a very representative one. And what strikes perhaps the reader is that it's a female voice and a female persona voicing passionate love, which is not typical in classical Chinese poetry. This is usually done by, as we've said time and again, by Chinese scholar officials, and generally it's male desire being projected into women, or a female persona being written by a male scholar official writer, imagining the female persona's longing. And in general, the more Confucian-oriented type of poets generally frowned at these expressions of love, especially females expressing love as, indecorous and inappropriate. So this is a lovely piece. The topic is love and pain of being parted from the loved one. It's a 5-syllabic old-style poem. You wouldn't know from the translation very directly because it has 8 lines, but yeah, it's old style, which means it's not bound by the metrical and parallelistic restrictions of the liu xi of the regulated poem, and it was a form that was considered like more expressive and maybe easier to use, but Li Bai tended to use it a lot. So the topic of the poem, as we've said, is the topic of the title, a lament of love sickness. You could divide it into 2 parts, like the first 2 couplets play on the metaphor of ocean water as, a symbol for love. It's probably trite and very typical metaphor, but perhaps there is a refreshingness in the way the poet presents the claim that the ocean is not as deep and far-reaching as her love. Yeah, so like there's a hyperbolic push in the poem that is not encountered generally in variations of this metaphor. The second part, the last 2 couplets, connect us with another trope that we've encountered a lot: wakefulness at night. The poetic persona is unable to sleep, generally because he or she is longing for the beloved. They wake, they see the moonlight, they feel sad. The moonlight is a symbol of separation because it evokes the absent lover who might be seeing the same moon at the same time, far away. Music is played, the sad chin music, the strings break. So, they are the typical sorrowful feelings that here just accumulate: the moonlight, the musical sounds, the high loft, to create this meaningful tension that is snapped like the strings of the instrument and of the heart in the pun at the end of the poem, which feels quite effective. So let's go very briefly couplet by couplet. The translation is by Jing Hua, I think. Yeah. People say the ocean is deep, not half as deep as my love. The ocean has a shore, my love is boundless. So, as I said, the first 4 couplets, the first half of the poem, establishes from the first line the metaphor. Love is, the ocean is deep, but it's not as deep as my love. It's comparable, but my love is more intense. And also the ocean has a boundary, a shore where it meets the land, but my love has no boundaries whatsoever. It just expands unendlessly. So, this could have been a poem, a really short quatrain, but the next 4 lines expand, and they move away from, you would say, like the abstract topic and the metaphor, to the embedded lived experience of the poetic persona. So that was the grief, but now the grief continues, and we see what the poetic persona is doing. With a thither I climb to the high loft. The loft is empty, filled with moonlight. I play a melody of lovesickness, breaking both strings and heart. So it was pretty typical for cultured people during the Tang to be able to play music, to join and gather with others for listening to and playing to music. It was also quite frequent to have meetings with others in the lofts or the high parts of towers in cities. There you could have a small banqueting party with drinking and music and poetry reading. But this is a lonely one, so with a thither the lady climbs to the high loft. But the loft is empty, there's nobody there to shoot. Not the beloved one, or even other people who might entertain her and reduce her sorrow. Only the moonlight is there. And she plays a melody of lovesickness because she's sad, breaking both strings and heart. Her melody breaks her heart because she's sad, and maybe she also breaks the strings of the chin in her sadness and in her despondent mood. So overall, a nice, relatively little piece with a lot of feeling.